It's Pete from Cheap Homesteading, and I'm in the bee yard today. It was extraordinarily windy yesterday. I'm glad to see that my stacks of bee boxes are still standing and they haven't been blown over. Today I'm going to go through all the hives, see how strong they are. I'll try to get a rough idea when I can do my splits, order in my queens, all that kind of stuff. I always forget to bring fuel. Okay, so basically I'm going to go around to each hive and make a little bit of puff in the entrance just to get them starting to cool down. This is the first bee inspection of the year. Record keeping is very important, and I haven't been the best at it. Honestly, I'm telling you the truth. So this year I got to make sure I'm a lot more diligent with my records, because I'm going to try to go treatment free. And I want to go above and beyond checking for varroa mite. I want to be testing almost constantly just to make sure everything's going good. And not every one of my boxes had a proper tag, and I went out and I got these little key tags. And these key tags are all numbered. So I'm going to make sure they're affixed to the front of each one of the hives. Okay, so I'm going to make sure a tag's affixed to it. So this hive is 29. Okay, so now I got them by tabs. This is pallet 1, so this will be pallet 1. I'm going to mark them better. And whenever this sheet is in here, this will be this hive. So if I move it from yard to yard, I pull the sheet and put it in the appropriate pallet in whichever yard I'm on. So this is hive 29. The first inspection, May the 5th, 2018. Eventually I want to check for varroa mite levels each time I come in. We're going to do our best to keep track of the levels. I like going from the first frame, and I'll tell you why. It's less likely to have the queen in it, and it's less likely for me to have squished her. Now I'm looking. This is foundationless frame, so when you lift, you have to make sure that you lift it at an axis like that. You don't want to tip it over on its side. I don't see the queen, so I'm going to move and gently set it down on this side. We're going to go frame to frame, see how many frames of brood we have. And, oh, she's been busy. There's actually drone brood starting. Man, she's been busy. Okay, so I don't see the queen on this frame. There is larvae, eggs, all different stages on here. I don't see her. I don't see the queen. Okay, so now because one frame is out, I have enough room to move it over. So I just keep going across like this. It's important not to jar it too much. There's the second frame of brood. She is doing absolutely great. I don't see a queen, so 2 frames. By the 5th, of May, you're supposed to have 5 frames of brood. I'm sure if you live more south of us, you're going to have more than 5 frames of brood at the 5th of May. I don't see the queen, but the queen tends to run around a little crazy when you find her. So right here, there's a lot of different aged larvae. So we know that she's laying, still laying. That's 4 frames of brood. Four frames. Okay, so there is some pollen and a bunch of eggs. Okay, so you think she should be around here somewhere. Okay, eggs, eggs, eggs. Oh, there's the queen right there. So there is the queen right there, see? She's a nice black queen. And she's laying good. So we're going to be careful with her. She has, right now, eggs, larvae, everything. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. So let's see if she continued on this way. Okay, there is a lot of pollen and honey. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a little more room. Okay, so I'm going to put another box on top and at least move these 2 frames of honey out of here, so I have a little more room for her to continue to expand the brood nest. I gotta go get another box. Okay, so there's a lot of room to lay in this one. There's some drone cells for sure, but there's a lot of room and there's a little bit of stores. So what I'm gonna do is move this frame of honey over to this one. I am going to put this frame of bees with pollen up here. We are just giving her a little bit of room, and they will still have the stores. And when I make my first set of splits, they will have lots of honey, and I'll have lots of honey to split with it. Okay, so I basically put honey here, left a little bit of open comb here. So I'm going to try to find a few more frames. We're just going to cover this so we don't get too much robbing. A few more frames to fill in those holes. Okay, so now it's got a little bit of honey, some moisture, but they're going to do fine with this. One there. We're going to throw another one in here. Now I'm going to move the brood nest into the center. Because the mornings are pretty cool, I don't want to split the brood nest up too much. I want to make sure that it kind of stays intact. Okay, so now I've given her more room. About 4. So basically we have 5 frames of brood. It's really 3 frames of calf brood and 2 that are kind of mixed and eggs. So we know that's good. I wanted to make sure I gave her lots of room to expand. So we added some pretty empty frames on the bottom box, making sure that we leave honey and pollen for them to create, to raise more brood. But I gave her an open patch a little bit above where she is now. So she'll move up into there and start laying into the second box. Now I'm going to log how this hive is doing. Okay, so now hive 29. Okay, so I saw the queen. There was no queen cells. Frames used. So basically, I think it was 8 of my 9 frames. I put 9 frames in my 10 frame boxes. It's just a little more room, works better for me. So I'd say about 8 frames were used, because the outside of the last frames really weren't inhabited by bees. Brood frames, I would say it was probably 5 frames. So we are kind of on target for the 5th of May, 555. By the 5th of May, you should have 5 frames of brood. Health is really good. Varroa, I didn't see any. I didn't test for it. So I am going to put NA for now. And I have enough honey in my other frames and in my other hives. I don't think I need to be feeding. Supers. I installed 1 super now. Weather. LW, light wind. Temperament. Excellent. Okay. So there we go. We're ready. If there's any notes, anything I see, I'll write that. We're going to move to the next one.